What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a couple different things happening in the crypto market, but most specifically focusing in on a piece of news that we got just yesterday that's absolutely massive and something that I don't really think people are talking about enough. And so I hope you guys do, of course, enjoy today's video. Don't forget, guys, this is a brand new channel, so if you do find it valuable, hit that subscribe button and let's get straight into it. Let's catch up on crypto, baby. So let's start off with the fundamentals and just get an idea of what's happening with this market from a back-end perspective. Well, the crypto fear and greed index is still sitting right around a 70, so a little bit high for me. You know, I told you on yesterday's catch-up that, look, whenever we're sitting this high, especially after we jump from fear to neutral to greed just within 1 week, I always get a little bit cautious, and I always understand that in moments like this, things are high risk. You know, it doesn't mean that obviously this market has to pull back or it has to drop, right? Because again, we've spent several months in this fear or in this greed zone, while this market continued to pump. So it doesn't mean that the market has to go down. You just got to understand it's not the best time to be buying when everyone is greedy. Now, this is starting to get a little bit of representation whenever we look at our 24-hour visual screener. What we can see here is that we still are seeing the majority of people with some of our higher market cap cryptos closing down their short trades and entering on their long trades. And whenever we see moments like this, right, we have high moments of greed. We have people closing on their shorts and opening their longs. People have that high conviction that this market is going to go upwards. Again, I always get a little bit concerned, like, okay, well, maybe let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Everybody, let's relax. No need to do anything too crazy. Let's just watch what happens. Now, looking at the liquidation map, one thing I will say, though, is that things are looking actually pretty decent. What we can see is that on the one-day liquidations, we are now going to see more liquidations if this market does move upwards than downwards. That's always a good sign because I do typically believe that this market will generally move in the direction of the most liquidations. And so because of that, we are seeing it on the one-day. We're also seeing it on the 7-day now, more liquidations to the top side. Now, our 30-day is still struggling a little bit. We are still seeing it pretty heavily favored towards the downside, but this is literally the only time frame where we're seeing this, so I'm not too concerned about it. 1 day looking good, 7 days looking good, and if we go to liquidation heat map model 2, we go all the way out to the 6 month. What you can see is that we are still seeing it heavily favored towards the bulls here as well, in which there are more liquidations from a macro sense to the upside. So all in all, I actually have to agree with the general sentiment right now that things are looking pretty good from a liquidation perspective, but of course I do always get a little bit cautious in moments in which we're seeing this market full of greed. Now, one thing that I have noticed as well is that currently open interest is nearly at an all-time high. It's almost at an all-time high right now. And because of that also, it's like the more and more interest that enters the market, the more volatile it's going to get. And so even if I do think in general this market will move upwards, I do think that there will be moments in which we continue to see it pull back and liquidate a lot of people. And so again, it just feeds into my caution. This is a time in the market where I am moving with caution. Now, kind of using that to progress into some of the technicals to get an idea of what's happening from a technical perspective, it does make a ton of sense as to why I'm feeling that caution when looking at the back end, because it's represented now in the front end. What we can see here from a price perspective is that Bitcoin did just get rejected off the top side of this macro channel in which we've been in realistically since, March of this year. We spent nearly 7 months just sitting in this descending channel, and we've been rejected off of the top side again. Now, in yesterday's video, I told you all, look, hey, we need to understand that it's no biggie if you get rejected here. It's totally fine as long as you come back, find a higher low, you try to use this previous point of resistance as support, get that RS flip, and then use it to break upwards. There's no problem with this. Having to come back down and find a base of support to then use to break out is normal, and it's something Bitcoin does all the time, but you need to be cautious here, because if we keep coming down and we lose the support, guys, we could be in a spot in which Bitcoin's price not only revisits this ascending point of support, which could look like Bitcoin hitting, $63,000 to $62,000, but the reality here is that if this line is lost, we're gonna try to head back towards 60K, and that puts us in a spot to where we see Bitcoin's price fall. What's that percentage wise? This could be a percentage fall of 12 to 15%, pulling the rest of the altcoin market down with it. And so although that's not a guarantee, it's a card that's on the table. And so what I've come to notice is that when I'm seeing things on the back end from a fundamental perspective that are making me nervous, I can always see why when I look at the price. And when I look at the price, I'm like, okay, well, we have a chance of breaking to the upside here. And if that is the case, yeah, sure, we're going to freaking continue upwards. We're going to liquidate all those people who are going to get liquidated towards these levels, and we're looking good. But understand that that might not happen just yet. We might pull back until then and before then. And of course, if that is the case, you need to be prepared for it, which is, again, the reason why I've told you all consistently, I'm not going on high leverage right now. I'm just sitting back and waiting, low leverage trades, allowing this to play out and allowing us to determine if Bitcoin is going to get this breakout here or not. Now, speaking of leverage, of course, guys, if you do want to trade some Bitcoin on leverage yourself, you can trade Bitcoin on Margex on all the way up to 100x leverage. I don't recommend 100x leverage right now, but you can use 5x, 6x. I think it's pretty good. And what I will say is that to use Margex, you don't need to KYC, meaning you don't need to give them your personal information. You also don't need to, of course, use a VPN. You can just sign up, start trading. You're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses when you do sign up and start trading as well. And the reason I do use Margex for basically every single trade that I do is just because I have all these options for collateral. So make sure that you do go check that out down in the description below. But overall, again, where I'm at right now with the price itself, sitting back, waiting, watching, allowing this to play out and proceeding with caution, especially knowing some of these things happening here with how greedy people are getting, open interest climbing, and much more. Now, from a news perspective, though, right? Because when we're looking at the price, when we're looking at, let me get this pulled up. When we're looking at the price, when we're looking at the fundamentals, that's typically short-term to mid-term, right? The fundamentals aren't going to be a great gauge of the long-term. But from a news perspective, news can be long-term. And man, oh man, did we get some good news yesterday. So the news that we got yesterday was that Stripe was going to be acquiring stablecoin platform Bridge in a $1.1 billion deal. Now, if you don't know Stripe basically provides payment processing for some of the biggest companies in the world. Currently speaking, Stripe processes more than 500 million API requests per day. And during the Black Friday through Cyber Monday period, Stripe processed more than 18.6 billion transactions and 27,300 requests per second. Now, Stripe is one of the biggest companies in the world. Not only, I mean, they're currently sitting right around, $70 billion market cap just about a month ago, still climbing to this day, but they're one of the biggest within the world of finance and traditional finance and payment processing, all of which is extremely, extremely important for crypto. And what they went and acquired was Bridge, again, in a $1.1 billion deal. It goes on to say here that we are thrilled to be joining forces with Stripe, said the Bridge CEO and co-founder Zach Abrams on October 21st. Stripe is going to build the world's best stablecoin infrastructure. And to that end, we are delighted to welcome stablecoin to Stripe, added the Stripe CEO, Patrick Collison on X. So this, it's not even a secret anymore, right? It's not even, there's no need for speculation. They have every intention to build the biggest stablecoin platform in the world. And with the billions of dollars that they have available, it wouldn't shock me if they do so. And by doing this, not only does it add more credibility to the world of crypto that one of the biggest payment processors and one of the giants within the finance niche or finance world, whatever you want to call it, is on, but also you have to think about the fact that this is going to open up so many doors of opportunity, not only for consumers, but retailers as well. So many of these different companies may have the ability as a result of this partnership or this acquisition in which they've just done to start taking crypto as payment form, right? Start to be able to implement digital assets within their everyday business cycles. And those types of things are what allow for mass adoption, because what people often forget about is that we need mass adoption on every scale, not only just from a retail perspective, not only just from an institution perspective or retail investor perspective, an institution perspective, but we also need it from a B2B perspective. We also need a B2C perspective. We need these businesses to be using crypto as well. It's the only way to see true mass adoption across all marks. Now, sure, are these people going to be, using Bitcoin whenever they're doing their payments? No, probably not. And I don't think they ever really will. Quite frankly, there are just better options. But it doesn't matter. Even if they're only using stable coins and providing people the ability to have payment transactions go through with stablecoin, although that's not going to intrinsically increase the price of a specific asset as it's being used, quite frankly, I don't care. It's still going to be bringing a ton of value to the world of crypto because it opens up the door for those people and those retails and those institutions to continue to start using digital currencies more and more and more. It opens up their mind to it, which oftentimes does lead them right down the rabbit hole that you and I are in right now. And so this is a massive thing. This is a massive piece of news. And it could be one of the moments that we look back at that says, oh, that was the beginning of something absolutely insane, because a $70 billion company just said that they're going to try to build one of the biggest stablecoin platforms in the world. Nuts. So what does this transpire to? I don't really know, but I am very, very curious to see how all of this does play out. And I really, really do think that this could be absolutely massive for the world of crypto. I mean, a little bit more information on Bridge, just to kind of wrap this up here. Bridge is a stablecoin based payments network, which was founded in 2022. Shout out to those co-founders. 2 years, $1 billion, nuts, insane. But of course, it was two former Coinbase executives. They recognized the problem and they solved it. Great for them. And of course, the goal with this was to compete with the Swift network and credit cards. Abrams was the head of consumer at Coinbase, and founded Evenly, a P2P, peer-to-peer payments company that Square eventually acquired. You held engineering roles at Coinbase, Square, and DoorDash, and Airbnb, so this isn't very shocking. And Bridge allows businesses to create, store, send, and accept stable coins, which some have referred to as a Web3 answer to Stripe. This year, the firm received $58 million in funding from Sequoia, Ribbit, Index, and other investors. And of course, now they have it locked in, the $1.1 billion deal with Stripe. So I think this could be massive. I think this is going to lead to a lot of great things within the world of crypto, and I could not wait to share it with you. Now, we did get a little bit more news over the last few days, but nothing too crazy. Just some general ETF news. What we can see here, let's go. That just released. Not worried about that. Bitcoin ETF saw 294 million in inflows just yesterday, the 7th day of flows. We are currently seeing on a lot of our more decentralized polls that Donald Trump is quite substantially in the lead for this election. Although I don't personally believe in any of these polls, I'm kind of one of those people that thinks everything is manipulated, and so I'll believe it when I see it personally. But if this is the case, of course, it does put us in a spot in which the party that is more beneficial to crypto could be in the lead, which is obviously beneficial to crypto. And then, of course, we did see that BlackRock bought $332 million in Bitcoin for its ETF just today. And so because of that, a lot of great news circulating throughout the webs right now. And I couldn't wait to share it with you, and I'm very glad we were able to, because man, I think that Stripe news is going to be big. So let me know down in the comments below, what are your current thoughts? Do you think that this market is moving in a good way? Are you buying? Are you selling, shorting, longing? Kind of what's your game plan right now? How do you feel about that Stripe news? Do you think it's going to be beneficial, or is it just another piece of news that won't really transpire into much? And guys, while you are down there, don't forget, if you do want to trade some Bitcoin yourself on up to 100x leverage, you can use that Margex link down in the description below. It's there for you if you want to check it out. No KYC necessary, no VPN necessary. But all in all, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.